Shalom, brothers and sisters in Yahweh, and welcome. Tonight we start our first study in the Book of Jasher. So if you have a Dead Sea Scrolls book, go ahead and grab it and open up to the first chapter in Jasher so you can follow along. Thanks for showing up, everybody. I hope that y'all enjoy this. Go ahead and grab your crayons alongside because there's a lot to color in here. It is a really good study. So let's get going, alright? Alright, let's take a drink real quick so that we can get our pipes all wetting down a little bit. We'll get ready to go. Alrighty then. Alright. The Book of Jasher. Chapter 1. This is the book of the generations of man, whom Yahweh created on the earth on the day when the Elohim, Yahweh, made heaven and earth. Yahweh said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness." And Yahweh created man in his own image. Yahweh formed man from the dirt, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul with the capacity of speech. And the Elohim said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper and a mate." And the Elohim caused a deep sleep to come on Adam, and he slept. Yahweh took away one of his ribs, and he fashioned flesh on it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. Adam awoke from his sleep, and saw a woman was standing in front of him. He said, "This is bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, because it has been taken from man." Adam named her Eve, because she was the mother of all living mankind. Yahweh blessed them, and on the day he created them, he called their names Adam and Eve. The Elohim, Yahweh, said, "Be prolific, and reproduce and fill the earth." The Elohim, Yahweh, took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden, to farm it and to keep it. He commanded them and said, "You may eat from every tree of the garden, but you may never eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. On the day that you eat thereof, you will certainly die." When Yahweh had blessed and commanded them, he departed from them. Adam and his wife lived in the garden according to the commandment which the Elohim had commanded them. The serpent, which Yahweh had created with them in the earth, came to them to incite them to go contrary to the commands of Yahweh, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman listened to the voice of the serpent, and she went contrary to the word of Elohim, and took from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it, and gave also to her husband, and he ate. And Adam and his wife went contrary to the command of Yahweh, which he commanded them, and Yahweh knew it. And his anger was set ablaze against them, and he cursed them. And the Elohim, Yahweh, drove them that day from the Garden of Eden, to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and lived at the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam had sex with his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. She called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, "I have obtained a man from the Elohim." And the name of the other she called Abel, for she said, "Empty we came into the earth, and empty we shall be taken from it." And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land, And Cain was a farmer of the ground, and Abel a keeper of the sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought a first fruit offering, and the Elohim, or to the Elohim. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstling of his flock, from the fat thereof. And Yahweh turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Elohim from heaven and consumed it. And to Cain and his offering to the Elohim did not turn. He did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Elohim. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought an opportunity to kill him. Sometime after, Cain and Abel, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, Cain farming and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger, and said to him, "What gives you the right to come and live here, and bring your flock to feed in my land?" And Abel answered his brother Cain and said to him, "What gives you the right to eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe yourself with their wool? Take off the wool of my sheep, with which you have clothed yourself, and pay me for their resources you have used, and flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land, as you have said." Cain said to his brother Abel, "Certainly if I kill you this day, who will require your blood from me?" And Abel answered Cain, saying, "Certainly, Yahweh, who has made us in this earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you should you kill me. For the Elohim is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will repay man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do on earth. And now, if you should kill me here, certainly Yahweh knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you did declare to do to me this day." When Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, the anger of Cain was set ablaze against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. Cain hurried and rose up, and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly struck his brother, and killed him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Abel on the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed on the earth before the flock. And after this Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it troubled him greatly. Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And the Elohim knew what Cain had done to his brother. And the Elohim appeared to Cain and said to him, "Where is Abel your brother that was with you?" And Cain lied and said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Elohim said to him, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother, and have lied before me, and imagined in your heart that I saw you not, nor knew any of your actions. But you did this thing, and did kill your brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed be you from the ground which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you did bury him. It shall be when you shall till it, the land will no longer give you its strength, as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall be the ground produce, and you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of your death." And at that time Cain went out from the presence of the Elohim, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land toward the east of Eden, he and all those belonging to him. Cain had sex with his wife in those days, and she conceived and gave birth to a son, and he called his name Enosh, saying, in that time the Elohim began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. At that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enosh, according to the name of his son. For in those days the Elohim had given him rest on the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Arad was born to Enosh, and Arad had Mechalal, and Mechalal had Methuselah. Chapter 2. It was in the 130th year of the life of Adam on the earth that he again had sex with Eve his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to a son, and he looked like Adam, and she called his name Seth, saying, because Yahweh has appointed me another offspring in the place of Abel, for Cain had slain him. And Seth lived 105 years, and he had a son, and Seth called the name of his son Enosh, saying, because in that time the Son of Man began to reproduce, and to afflict their souls and hearts by disobeying and rebelling against Yahweh. It was in the days of Enosh that the sons of men continued to rebel and go contrary to Yahweh, to increase the anger of the Elohim against the sons of men. And the sons of men went, and they served other gods, small g. And they forgot the Elohim who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood, and stone, and they bowed down and served them. Every man made his small g god, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men turned away from the Elohim all the days of Enosh and his children, and the anger of the Elohim was set ablaze on account of their works and abominations which they did on the earth. The Elohim caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the earth. Notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were not extended to do evil in the sight of the Elohim. In those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. For from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth, of the curse of Yahweh, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before the Elohim. Excuse me. And it was when men continued to rebel and go contrary to Yahweh, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he had Canaan. And Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise, and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man, and had understanding in all wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled over spirits and demons. Canaan knew by his wisdom that Yahweh would destroy the sons of men for having sinned on the earth, and that the Elohim would in the latter days bring on them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote on tablets of stone, which was to take place in times to come, and he put them in his treasure troves. Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to service of Yahweh. When Canaan was 70 years old, he had 3 sons and 2 daughters. These are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn was Malhalal, the second was Enan, and the third was Mered, and their sisters were Adah and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives. And Adah conceived and gave birth to a son to Lamech, and she called his name Jabal. And she again conceived and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Jubal. And Zillah, her sister, was unable to conceive in those days and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of men began to trespass against Yahweh, and to go contrary to the commandments which he had given Adam, to be prolific and reproduce in the earth. Some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a mixture that would render them unable to conceive, in order that they might retain their figures, and their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them. The childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands, and they treated them as widows, while their husbands lived with those unable to conceive, and to those women they were attached. And in the end of days and years, when Zillah became old, the Elohim opened her womb. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Tubal-Cain, saying, After I had withered away have I obtained him from the Almighty Elohim. And she conceived again, and gave birth to a daughter, and she called her name Naamah, for she said, After I have withered away, and have I obtained pleasure and delight. Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. And Tubal-Cain his son was leading him. And it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal-Cain his son was with him. And while they were walking in the field, Cain, the son of Adam, advanced towards them, for Lamech was very old, and could not see much, and Tubal-Cain his son was very young. Tubal-Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrow he struck Cain, who was yet far off, and he killed him, because he appeared to be an animal to them. And the arrow entered Cain's body, although he was at a distance from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And the Elohim rewarded Cain's evil according to his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Abel, according to the word of the Elohim which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Cain had died, that Lamech and Tubal went to see the animal which they had slain. And they saw, and behold, Cain their grandfather was fallen dead on the earth. Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together in grief, he struck his son, and caused his death. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. The wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he killed Cain and Tubal-Cain. And the wives of Lamech separated from him, and he would not listen to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wives, and he begged them to listen to him about this matter. He said to his wives Adah and Zillah, Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech, attend to my words, for now you have imagined and said that I killed a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for they did no violence. But certainly know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age. I did this thing unknowingly. And the wives of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam. But they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that Yahweh's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil acts. Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, lived 65 years, and he has Yered. And Yered lived 62 years, and he had Enoch. Chapter 3. Enoch lived 65 years, and he had Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God, with Yahweh, and after having a son, Methuselah, and he served the Elohim and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Elohim, in knowledge and in understanding, and he wisely retired from the sons of men, and cloistered himself from them for many days. It was at the expiration of many years, when he was serving the Elohim and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Elohim called to him from heaven, and he said, "Here am I." And he said, "Rise, go forth from your house, and from the place where you hide yourself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that you may teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish in order to enter into the ways of Yahweh." Enoch rose up, according to the word of the Elohim, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of the Elohim, and at that time assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instruction of the Elohim. He ordained it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men lived, saying, "Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Elohim and good works? Let him come to Enoch." And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the words of the Elohim. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his words. The Spirit of Yahweh was on Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of Yahweh and his ways. And the sons of men served the Elohim all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both great and least, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him. And they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. They assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of the Elohim, and he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the way of the Elohim. These are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sisters were Milcah, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he had Lamech. It was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death. His 2 sons were Enoch and Methuselah his son, buried him with great grandeur, as at the burial of kings, in the cave which Yahweh had told him. And in that place all the sons of men mourned and wept greatly on account of Adam. It had therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as the Elohim, Yahweh, had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to cloister himself as at first, in order to serve the Elohim. Enoch did so, but did not entirely cloister himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. During the 3 days that he was in his chambers, he prayed to and praised the Elohim, Yahweh. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Elohim. And all they asked him about the Elohim, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years. And he afterward concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. And after that, once a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch, and to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the Elohim-like awe that was seated on his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. All the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men, and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth among them. And they did so. The day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of the Elohim, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, "May the king live! May the king live!" Some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Yahweh, an angel of the Elohim then called to Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven, to make him reign over the sons of Yahweh, as he had reigned over the sons of men on earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, "I have been required to ascend into heaven, but I do not know the day of my going. And now, therefore, I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act on earth, so that you may live as you should." And he did so. He taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he rebuked them, and he placed before them statutes and judgments to do on earth, and he made peace among them, and he taught them everlasting life, and lived with them some time, teaching them all these things. At that time the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them. And they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen. And Enoch said to them, "On my account does this horse descend on earth. The time has come when I must go from you. I shall no more be seen by you." The horse descended at that time and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, "Where is the man who delights to know the ways of the Elohim, Yahweh? Let him come this day to Enoch, before he is taken from us." All the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them to serve the Elohim, and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace among them. It was after this that he rose up and rode on the horse, And he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him 1 day's journey. And the second day he said to them, Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained with him went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, Return to your tents, that you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day some of the men remained, and clung to him. And they said to him, We will go with you to the place where you go, as the Elohim lives. Only death shall separate us. They urged so much to go with him that it ceased speaking to them, and they went after him and would not return. When the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken, in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was on the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind, with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. All those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow. And on the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, Come, let us break through the snow and see. Perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find Enoch, for he had ascended into heaven. And that's the end of chapter 3. Yeah, we had some color in action in there, huh? A little more information. Pretty interesting. It talks about how Enoch was teaching men, but it doesn't say anything about the fallen angels yet. So that's kind of interesting. Gives you an idea of the bloodline on both the side of Seth and the side of Cain. And it's interesting how Cain was killed. There's a lot of coloring going on in there, huh? Yeah, got some use on them crayons. That's good. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the study tonight, and I hope y'all stick with it, because this is going to be a really interesting study. So, thanks for joining me. I do appreciate everybody coming in and checking it out, this study. As with all of the extra-canonical studies, they're all very interesting. But I got to remind everybody, if you just found this channel and you just found this study, please, I beg you, please, go back to Genesis 1:1. I don't care if you follow my studies or you do your reading on your own. What I care about is I care that you get a good basic knowledge of the Bible before you get into these extra-canonical studies. It's really important that you have a good running knowledge of the Bible first, because the extra-canonical studies, yeah, they give you a lot more information, but I don't want anybody getting confused about anything, okay? I don't want anybody feeling as though I'm deceiving or misleading anyone, because I'm not. I'm just showing you what we have that we can study with. And the extra-canonicals, once upon a time, were actually canonical books in the Bible, and were removed. But we won't get into all that now. I just ask for your own good. Go back to Genesis 1:1 and start reading for yourself the Bible first. Okay? And then after you get through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the 5 books of the Torah, then come back and do the extra-canonical studies. And you'll see. You'll understand then. Okay? Alright. Thanks again for everybody joining me. Yah bless each and every one of you, and you all have a good night. Let's see. Our next study will be on Shabbat. Ooh, that'll be a good one. All right, gang. That's all I got. Y'all have a good night, and shalom.